rolled off the presses every day, identical at first glance. But in the shadows of the minting process, something extraordinary happened. A tiny, almost imperceptible error crept into a small batch of pennies, a mistake that would one day send collectors scrambling and make fortunes in the blink of an eye. This is the 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Most pennies bear a mint mark, a small P, D, or S, indicating where they were struck. But some were released without any mark at all. And this absence, so subtle that many overlook it, is the key to its astonishing value. To the untrained eye, a 1994 no-mint mark penny looks just like any other coin in circulation. Coppery, small, familiar. But collectors know to look closer. The first thing to notice is the date, 1994. Clear, crisp, and perfectly centered. Then, move to the area just below the date, where a mint mark should appear. If you see nothing, if the space is entirely blank, you might be holding something extraordinary. What makes this coin so rare is not just the missing mint mark. It's the story behind it. In 1994, the Philadelphia Mint was producing coins at record speed. Machines whirred, presses stamped metal, and in that frenzy, a small batch escaped with no identifying mark. No one noticed at the time. These pennies slipped into circulation like ghosts, ordinary on the surface, yet hiding a secret that would turn a simple coin into a treasure worth a fortune. Collectors began to notice in the years that followed. One by one, these pennies surfaced, often discovered by retirees cleaning out drawers or collectors sorting through bulk coins. Each discovery sent shockwaves through the numismatic world. People who thought they were just holding spare change suddenly realized they were holding the keys to unimaginable wealth. Some of these pennies have sold for staggering amounts. One in near-perfect condition reportedly reached a market value of $1.5 million. That's right, a single, seemingly ordinary penny, quietly waiting for the right person to recognize its worth, turned into $1 million prize. And yet, countless others remain hidden, still tucked away in coin jars, wallets, and drawers across the country. First, check the date, 1994. Make sure the numbers are not worn, not damaged, and not altered. Next, inspect the area just beneath the date. There should be no D for Denver, no S for San Francisco. The absence must be absolute. Some coins might appear to lack a mint mark, but closer examination reveals faint impressions or scratches. Only a true no mint mark coin holds a completely clean space. Examine the coin's details carefully. Look at Lincoln's profile, the hair, the coat, the face. The details should be sharp, not worn down. The edges should be smooth but intact. Any signs of tampering or modification could ruin its value. Remember, this is a coin that could fetch $1 million. Precision matters. It's not just about money. There's an emotional journey here. Imagine discovering one of these pennies while sorting through decades of saved coins. Your heart races. You hold it up to the light, every second stretching into eternity. And it doesn't take a professional. Many of these incredible finds were made by everyday Americans, retirees, parents, even kids, who simply knew how to look closely and trust their instincts. They understood that sometimes the most extraordinary treasures hide in the most ordinary places. Disbelief, joy, disbelief again. One collector recounted finding it in a jar of pennies saved from grocery trips. Another stumbled upon it while cleaning out an old purse. These coins don't announce themselves. They reveal themselves only to those who pay attention. The coin's rarity is amplified by condition. A well-preserved 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is exceptionally hard to find. Most pennies show wear from decades of handling. This coin, however, maintains its original luster, its details crisp and clean. And when such a penny is authenticated and graded by experts, the value skyrockets. Millions of dollars are not a fantasy, they are the reality for those lucky enough to find one. If you're searching through your coins right now, remember to reset your attention frequently. Don't just glance, study, inspect, and imagine. Picture that moment when your hand hovers over a coin, your mind realizing that this isn't just any penny. This is the coin that could change everything. Estimates are scarce, but collectors believe the number is tiny. Perhaps only a few dozen in circulation, maybe fewer than 10 in near-perfect condition. The scarcity creates tension, a sense of urgency. Every jar, every coin roll you examine could be the one. Every trip to a coin shop, every drawer in your home, holds the possibility of discovery. Learning to identify this coin requires patience and practice. Examine every detail, the date, the absence of the mint mark, the condition of Lincoln's profile. Compare it with known examples, seek guidance from trusted numismatic references, and never assume that a worn or damaged coin holds the same value. Authenticity is everything, and remember the power of this discovery. Holding a coin worth over $1 million is not just about wealth. It's about history, luck, and timing. It's about being in the right place at the right moment, with the right knowledge and the courage to look closely when others glance quickly. Collectors often say that finding a rare coin is like finding a piece of magic. One moment, it's ordinary, the next, it changes your world forever. The 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny embodies this magic. It's proof that hidden treasures are all around us, waiting for those willing to seek them. Even today, people are uncovering these coins. The thrill hasn't faded. The market hasn't cooled. And the dream of turning a handful of pennies into a life-changing fortune is alive, waiting for the next lucky collector to stumble upon the prize. Pay close attention. Inspect every penny, every roll, every forgotten coin from decades past. The chance is rare, but the reward is monumental. One coin can change everything, rewriting stories, changing lives, and fulfilling dreams that once seemed impossible. And when you finally see it, when the date is clear, the mint mark absent, and the details pristine, you'll understand the weight of what you hold. This is not just a coin. It's history, it's fortune, and it's a testament to the extraordinary hiding in the ordinary. So start looking. Don't rush, but don't hesitate. Study, compare, examine. Every second counts, every detail matters. Because the next 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny could be the one that changes a life forever. Imagine that same coin, hiding a secret so rare, so extraordinary, that it could be worth over $1 million. This isn't a fantasy. This is real. This is the 1999 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin that has shocked collectors, rewritten record books, and turned everyday Americans into millionaires almost overnight. The story begins in the late 1990s, a time when pennies were considered nearly worthless. People spent them, lost them, and tossed them aside without a second thought. But in 1999, at a U.S. mint facility that most Americans didn't even know existed, a strange oversight occurred. A batch of pennies was struck without the familiar D mint mark, the symbol that tells you it came from Denver. For years, this was invisible to the average eye. Most of these coins ended up in circulation, forgotten in cash registers, tucked into wallets, or buried in jars collecting dust. What makes this penny extraordinary isn't just its missing mark. It's the story it tells. It's the silent testimony of a mistake that the U.S. Mint itself didn't even realize had occurred until collectors began noticing anomalies decades later. When a penny appears without a mint mark, it's more than a missing letter. It's a key to history. It's a whisper from the past that says, I am unique. I am rare. And I could change your life. Collectors describe the thrill of discovering this penny as nothing short of electrifying. Imagine the simple act of sorting through a handful of coins, scanning each one, and suddenly seeing a Lincoln penny that doesn't match the rest. There's a moment of disbelief, a heart-pounding pause, and then, realization. You are holding something that could be worth up to $1.6 million. One coin, one moment, completely life-changing. 1999. Then look closely at the obverse, the front of the coin, where Abraham Lincoln gazes stoically forward. Normally, just beneath the date, you would see a small D, marking the Denver Mint. On this coin, it is completely absent. No mint mark. A subtle detail that only the careful eye will catch. But there's more. The strike quality of these coins is often sharper than circulation pennies from the same year. The details of Lincoln's hair, his coat, even the lines on his face, are unusually crisp. This is not a penny that was worn down in pocket change. This is a coin that has survived time, almost untouched, waiting for someone to recognize its significance. Imagine a collector in a small Midwestern town, digging through a bag of change from a local grocery store, and suddenly pausing. The hands shake ever so slightly as the penny is turned over under a magnifying glass. The realization sets in, this is not just a penny. This is $1 million coin. In fact, in recent years, examples of this coin have been reported to sell for as high as $1.6 million in top condition. The very thought is enough to make even seasoned collectors catch their breath, but the story doesn't end with discovery. The real drama lies in the journey of verification. Once a suspected penny is found, it must be carefully authenticated by professional grading services. Every scratch, every imperfection is scrutinized. Every coin must meet rigorous standards to be considered legitimate. It's a process that separates mere curiosity from life-altering fortune. And for those who succeed, the payoff is staggering. This penny has also captured the imagination of the public because it represents possibility, the kind of chance that most people only dream about. An ordinary coin in your pocket, a simple piece of copper, could suddenly become a key to wealth beyond imagination. It's a reminder that history is full of surprises, and sometimes, those surprises are hiding in plain sight. Now, let's reset for a moment and consider why this coin commands such value. It's not just rarity. It's not just historical curiosity. The missing mint mark, the survival of the coin in pristine condition, and the relentless pursuit of collectors who understand what they have when they see it. These coins are finite. Once discovered, the supply dwindles. Each penny found adds to the legend, but diminishes the opportunity for others. That's why, in the right hands, this coin can fetch prices that seem unimaginable, even to seasoned numismatists. For anyone searching through coin rolls or loose change, the thrill comes in small bursts. One coin at a time. One moment of anticipation, one heart-stopping second. Every 1 to 2 minutes of searching, the excitement resets. What if the next coin is the one? What if the next coin is worth over $1 million? That is the magnetic pull that keeps collectors coming back, year after year, jar after jar, roll after roll. It's not just about money either. Holding this penny is like touching a moment frozen in time. You can almost imagine the workers at the mint, unaware that a tiny error would echo across decades. You can picture the hands of countless Americans who held this coin, who never knew its potential. And finally, you can imagine your own hands, turning the coin over, feeling the weight of history, and knowing that in an instant, your life could be transformed. If you're a collector, the search is methodical. Examine every penny from 1999. Focus on those that feel slightly different, that catch your eye under the light. Magnification helps. A jeweler's loupe or a coin microscope can reveal details invisible to the naked eye. The key is patience and vigilance. Millions of pennies exist from that year, but only a handful carry this extraordinary anomaly. And those few are worth millions. Literally, the mystery surrounding this coin also fuels the emotional intensity. How many are still out there, quietly resting in drawers, wallets, and piggy banks? How many lives could be changed overnight if someone discovers one tomorrow? The idea that life-changing fortune could be hiding in your own home, waiting to be recognized, is almost too thrilling to grasp. Remember, it's not just about finding a coin. It's about understanding its story. This is a coin that survived by chance, thrived by rarity, and now waits for someone perceptive enough to recognize its worth. Every minute you spend studying pennies, inspecting them, imagining the possibilities, you are participating in a centuries-old tradition of discovery, of treasure hunting, and of chasing the unimaginable. We are not talking about a few $1,000s. We are talking about a coin that, in top condition, has reached reported sales of $1.6 million. Think about that. One single penny, so ordinary to most, can hold the power to completely alter the trajectory of a life. One moment, one coin, one discovery, and everything changes. So if you're sorting through change today, if you're staring at a jar of pennies on your kitchen counter, remember this story. Look closely. Check every coin from 1999. Examine the date, look for the absence of the D, notice the sharpness of the strike, and trust your instincts. Because someone, somewhere, just like you, could be holding the key to an unimaginable fortune, history, chance, and a tiny piece of copper have collided to create a phenomenon that collectors will chase for decades. The thrill, the suspense, the emotional weight, it's all real. And the opportunity is still out there. This is more than a coin. It's a story, a legend, and a promise that life can surprise you when you least expect it. A coin that, for decades, has been quietly slipping through the pockets of Americans, unnoticed, unappreciated, until now. One small, copper-plated disc, minted in 2013, with a tiny D stamped on it, could be worth as much as $1.7 million. Yes, a single penny. One small, seemingly ordinary penny, hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone like you to uncover its secret. The story begins not in a collector's vault, but in the bustling corridors of the Denver Mint. Here, billions of coins are struck every year, each one meant to circulate as everyday money. But in 2013, something unusual happened. A few pennies slipped past the minting machines with a rare misalignment, a subtle anomaly that most people would never notice. These errors, these tiny imperfections, transformed ordinary coins into treasures that could sell for millions of dollars to the right buyer. Imagine the journey of one such penny. From the mint, it fell into someone's pocket. It passed through grocery stores, coffee shops, gas stations. Nobody noticed. To the untrained eye, it was just a penny, just another face in the crowd. But if you knew what to look for, if you knew the secret, this ordinary coin could be the key to extraordinary wealth. It all comes down to a minute detail, the positioning of the mint mark and the die errors that occurred during production. Some coins show a doubling effect, faint but visible on the D. Others display a subtle raised line or ridge along the rim, almost imperceptible unless you hold it in just the right light. These are the markers collectors hunt for. These are the signs that separate a common penny from $1 million coin. Extremely rare. Out of billions minted, only a handful have been identified with the specific misprints that make them valuable. And the story gets even stranger. Some coins were released in circulation, never noticed by their owners, who may have unknowingly spent them or stored them in drawers. Others made it into coin collections, quietly awaiting the moment the world would recognize their value. The rarity, combined with the precise type of mint error, is what drives collectors into a frenzy. Here's how you can spot one. First, check the mint mark, the small D near Lincoln's shoulder. Next, examine the rim. Some of these coins have faint, raised ridges or extra metal along the edges. Finally, look at Lincoln's face itself. Certain pennies show slight doubling on the date or the letters of Liberty. These may seem insignificant to a casual observer, but for a collector who knows the secrets, they are signs of unimaginable value. Picture the emotion of discovering one. The sudden realization that a coin you've held casually could be worth millions of dollars. The heart racing, your hands shaking as you bring it to a trusted coin dealer. The disbelief turning to exhilaration as they confirm it, this coin, this ordinary penny, is extraordinary. And it could be yours, but there's more than just money at stake. There's the thrill of discovery, the story you become a part of. Each 2013 D penny carries with it a hidden history, the imperfections of the mint, the chance passage through countless hands, the quiet anticipation of a future where someone notices its worth. Owning such a coin is like holding a piece of modern history, a tangible reminder that fortune can appear in the most unexpected places. Every 1 to 2 minutes, imagine the suspense building. Could that jar of pennies on your counter hold the treasure you've been dreaming of? Could that old change you found in a couch cushion or tucked in a drawer be worth more than your house, more than a lifetime of savings? Each glance, each careful examination could bring you closer to the answer. Collectors who have discovered these pennies describe a mixture of disbelief and euphoria. Some have found them in rolls from the bank. Others, in loose change they'd carried for years. And every story has the same theme: a coin, overlooked and undervalued, transforms a life. The right collector, the right moment, and suddenly, a humble 2013 D Lincoln penny becomes priceless. That it's not just the mint mark that matters. Subtle die cracks, faint doubling on the date, tiny bumps or ridges along the rim, all these factors add up. They create a unique fingerprint, a mark that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. These markers are so precise, so small, that most people don't even see them. But when you do, the truth hits you: this coin is special. This coin is history. This coin could be worth a fortune. Think about the potential. One small penny, in your hand, could be the key to financial freedom. You could walk into a dealer's office, show them the coin, and hear numbers that seem almost impossible. 7 figures. $1.7 million. The kind of money that changes everything. And yet, it's hiding among the pennies in circulation, just waiting to be found. The emotional journey is as gripping as the financial one. The moment of recognition, the validation that comes from spotting a rare mint error, the knowledge that you've seen what most people never will, it's intoxicating. And it's entirely within reach if you know what to look for. Don't rush. Take your time. Gather the pennies you have. Examine each one carefully, with light and magnification. Pay attention to the mint mark, the date, the letters of Liberty, and the edges. Keep your excitement in check, because the thrill of discovery will come in the moment you least expect it. And when you find that coin, that 2013 D Lincoln penny with its unique imperfections, you'll know it instantly. Imagine telling your friends and family. Watching their jaws drop as you reveal a coin worth over $1 million. Feeling the pride, the shock, the joy. Knowing that you didn't just stumble upon it, you recognized it, you understood it, and you claimed it. This is more than luck, it's knowledge, awareness, and patience paying off in the most dramatic way imaginable. Every time you pick up a penny now, you'll see it differently. Each coin has potential, each coin has a story, each coin could be the one that changes everything. Its story is just beginning, and you could be the one to write the next chapter. This coin, with its quiet history and rare imperfections, is proof that sometimes, the most extraordinary treasures are hiding in the most ordinary places. And sometimes, the next person to hold it, could be you. And yet, it's hiding in plain sight. A simple Lincoln penny, dated 1984. One small mint mark difference, and suddenly, you're not just holding copper and zinc, you're holding a ticket to unimaginable wealth. Some of these coins have been known to fetch up to $1.8 million at auction. Yes, a single penny. $1 million. And it could be sitting in your pocket right now. The story begins quietly, almost too quietly. The U.S. Mint in 1984 was producing millions of pennies for circulation. Most of them are ordinary, going unnoticed into jars, wallets, and coin rolls. But somewhere, in a small batch that was never intended to be extraordinary, an error occurred. A penny was struck without its usual mint mark, the little letter that tells you where it was made. No D for Denver. No S for San Francisco. Just the date, and an emptiness that would turn ordinary into extraordinary. This is not just a mistake. It's a whisper of history frozen in metal. A moment when chance favored the bold, and the mundane became magical. Imagine a cashier handing you change, unaware that in that handful of pennies, one could carry the weight of a fortune, the absence of the mint mark. On a normal 1984 penny, just below the date, you would see a small D if it came from Denver or an S from San Francisco. But on this rare coin, there is nothing. A small, empty space that holds a secret worth millions of dollars, but spotting it isn't always easy. You need to know what to look for. Hold the coin up to the light. Check the area under the ear carefully. Does it look slightly uneven, as if the metal was never touched by the mint mark punch? Compare it to a standard 1984 penny. The difference is subtle, yet dramatic. One is ordinary. The other, potentially life-changing. Collectors know that the market for these rare pennies is fierce. Only a few dozen are believed to exist in pristine, top condition state. That rarity drives their value sky high. But the story of the 1984 no-mint mark penny is more than numbers. It's about discovery, anticipation, and the thrill of uncovering something that shouldn't exist, and yet does. Imagine the moment a collector first realizes the truth. The heartbeat quickens. Hands tremble. Eyes widen. This isn't just a coin. This is a story, a mystery, a legacy. It is the kind of find that turns ordinary lives upside down. That turns someone who casually collects coins into a millionaire overnight, and the emotional weight doesn't stop there. Think about the people who stumbled upon this penny years ago. The excitement of checking a jar of change, the disbelief at the missing mint mark, the exhilaration of learning it could be worth over $1 million. The journey from curiosity to shock to joy is something collectors describe as nothing short of life-altering, but you don't need to be a professional numismatist to understand it. Start by examining your own 1984 pennies. Don't rush. Don't assume. Each coin could hold the secret. Look for inconsistencies in the metal, subtle shifts in the surface, and that telltale absence of a mint mark. Even the tiniest detail matters. A slight indentation, a difference in shine, a blank spot where a letter should be. The thrill of this hunt is what keeps collectors awake at night. There's no guarantee. There's no certainty. But there is the possibility. And when you see a coin that matches the description, a coin that glimmers with rarity, it's impossible not to feel that rush, the same one that countless collectors have felt before. Every few minutes, the story of the penny resets in your mind. The excitement, the disbelief, the hope. Could this ordinary-looking coin really hold millions of dollars? Yes. And it's not just speculation. Auction houses have verified these finds, documented sales, and verified their authenticity. The numbers don't lie. This isn't a rumor. This is real condition. A 1984 no-mint mark penny in worn condition is fascinating, but its value skyrockets when it's nearly perfect. Every scratch, every dent, every faded detail can reduce its worth dramatically. That's why collectors obsess over the corners, the edges, the tiniest features. Every imperfection or absence can either destroy or create unimaginable fortune. Picture yourself holding a pristine example under bright light. The shine of the copper, the perfectly intact date, the emptiness beneath it where the mint mark should be. This is the moment collectors dream of, the moment when reality surpasses imagination. A moment when something as small as a penny can redefine a lifetime, and yet, for all its power, this penny remains humble. It doesn't shout. It doesn't demand attention. It waits quietly in coin jars, forgotten drawers, and loose change. That contrast between ordinary appearance and extraordinary value is what makes it so electrifying. The idea that a fortune could be hiding in your kitchen, your wallet, or your drawer is a thrilling thought, almost too good to be true, and yet, it is true. To identify it yourself, start by sorting through every 1984 penny you have. Pay attention to detail. Shine a flashlight under the date. Compare with standard mint-marked coins. Check the edges, the surfaces, and the overall condition. If something feels off, don't ignore it. Even a hint of blankness could mean a hidden treasure. Many collectors have shared stories of first discovering the 1984 no-mint mark penny in the most mundane places, in rolls bought from banks, mixed with pocket change, even in coins collected as souvenirs. The moment of discovery is always the same, a spike of disbelief, a rush of excitement, and a realization that this simple coin could change everything. Imagine the life that could follow. Paying off debts, buying a dream home, taking care of loved ones, or simply knowing you own something no one else can claim. The power of this penny isn't just in its monetary value. It's in the story it carries, the history it preserves, and the dreams it inspires. The rarity of this coin makes it more than a collectible. It makes it a legend. Every auction, every sale, every verification adds to its mystique. Collectors follow these pennies as obsessively as treasure hunters track sunken ships. They study patterns, analyze surfaces, and wait years for the right moment to act. And the reward? A fortune measured in million-dollar increments. Every coin examined is a step closer. Every roll opened is a chance. The tension, the hope, the possibility, these are all part of the story, and they make the discovery of a 1984 no-mint mark penny unforgettable. Remember, the key to identification is patience, attention to detail, and knowing exactly what to look for: the date, the missing mint mark, the condition. Compare, scrutinize, and trust your instincts. One coin could be hiding where you least expect it, and finally, imagine holding that coin in your hand, knowing you found something extraordinary. The metal feels ordinary, yet the story it tells is beyond extraordinary. The thrill, the disbelief, the realization of fortune, it all comes together in that one small circle of copper. Most people pass it by every single day without a second glance. This is the story of the 1980 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a penny hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone like you to discover it. It starts in the bustling corridors of the Philadelphia Mint in 1980. The machines were humming, workers focused on producing millions of coins for everyday Americans. But somewhere in that enormous production, a tiny mistake occurred. A coin was struck without the mint mark that would normally identify it as coming from Philadelphia. To the untrained eye, it looked like any other penny. But for collectors, this was nothing short of a miracle. The first time anyone realized the magnitude of this error, hearts raced. News spread quietly at first, whispered in collector circles. A coin that should have been ordinary suddenly became extraordinary. Imagine owning a piece of history that few others even knew existed. That tiny, copper disc, barely an inch across, carried a secret worth millions. Literally millions, but here's the part that will make your pulse quicken. Unlike other coins that are rare because they were limited by design, this penny's rarity came from an accident, an unrepeatable, one-in-a-million fluke. Every year, tens of thousands of pennies are minted in Philadelphia, yet only a handful emerged without the D mint mark. And now, decades later, the market has realized their true value. Some have sold for $1.9 million in pristine condition. One coin, sitting unnoticed in a drawer or tucked inside a jar, could make someone unimaginably wealthy overnight. That's the part that separates dreamers from winners. The 1980 no-mint mark penny is subtle but unmistakable if you know what to look for. First, examine the area below the date. On a normal Philadelphia penny, you'll see a small D stamped there. On the no-mint mark penny, that letter is completely absent. Look closely at the coin's surface. The lettering, the Lincoln Memorial, the overall strike, everything else is identical to regular pennies. But that missing mark is the key. That tiny void is what turns a simple cent into a potential million-dollar treasure. Collectors describe the feeling as surreal when they spot one for the first time. The coin seems ordinary, yet your heart skips a beat. Could this really be worth $1 million? Could it truly be hiding in your loose change? The thrill, the disbelief, the excitement, it's impossible to ignore. The story becomes even more mysterious when you consider how few of these coins exist. There is no official record of how many were accidentally minted. Some estimates suggest only a handful may survive in top condition. That scarcity is what drives the insane prices we've seen in the last decade. Coins that were once overlooked in jars of pennies are now fetching sums that ordinary Americans can hardly imagine. Imagine the emotional roller coaster of a collector who stumbles upon one. 1 minute, it's just another coin. The next, their heart is pounding, their hands shaking, as they realize they may be holding $1.9 million in their palm. It's a story repeated quietly in collector communities, ordinary people discovering life-changing fortunes hiding in plain sight, and it's not just about money. There's something deeply human about the thrill of discovery, the connection to history, the chance to hold a piece of the past that few others will ever see. When you see that tiny missing D, it's like a secret handshake with time itself. You become part of a hidden story, a story that has remained invisible to most Americans for over 40 years. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Not every penny without a mint mark is valuable. Condition matters. The coin must be well preserved, with clear details on Lincoln's face, the words, "In God We Trust," and the date itself. Even a small scratch or worn edge can dramatically reduce its value. But in perfect condition, this coin isn't just rare, it's life-changing. The market has shown it repeatedly, with top examples selling for close to $2 million. $1 million coins are no longer a dream, they are real, tangible, and attainable for the lucky few who recognize them. If you're thinking about hunting for one, start with your own collection. Check the pennies in your jars, old coin rolls, and drawers. Use a magnifying glass to inspect the area beneath the date carefully. Many collectors have reported that simply looking through loose change can yield astonishing results. And remember, patience is key. These coins are elusive, and part of the thrill is the hunt itself. The story doesn't end with discovery. Once authenticated, a 1980 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny can become a centerpiece of a collection or a staggering financial windfall. Some collectors sell immediately, while others treasure it for its historical significance, enjoying the quiet knowledge that they own a true piece of American history. Either way, the emotional impact is undeniable. The mere fact that something so small, so ordinary in appearance, can carry such value is almost poetic. Imagine the moment you hold it up to the light, turning it over slowly. You see Lincoln's profile, the smooth copper surface, and then the crucial detail, no mint mark. A shiver runs down your spine. You realize the coin you've been holding for years, maybe even forgetting it existed, could now represent a fortune that most people only dream about. The story of ordinary pennies becomes extraordinary. The mundane becomes magnificent. And your perspective on change, quite literally, is transformed forever. Collectors often say that holding one of these coins is like touching a secret the world has kept hidden from everyone else. It's a thrill unlike any other, a combination of excitement, disbelief, and awe. And for those who understand its value, it is a reminder that incredible fortunes are sometimes hiding in the most unlikely places. Remember, this isn't about speculation. This is about a coin that has already proven its worth. Documented sales have reached $1.9 million. $1 million coins exist, and they exist right here in the United States. The 1980 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny isn't just a coin. It's a story. A mystery. A promise. It's the chance to hold history in your hand, to feel the pulse of decades-old minting errors, and to imagine what life would be like if one day, you stumbled upon this hidden treasure. Every glance, every careful inspection, is part of a journey that only a select few will ever complete. Countless pennies have passed through American hands over the decades. Most were forgotten, lost, or spent. Yet, tucked among them, a tiny handful escaped the ordinary. They escaped unnoticed, yet their potential value has now skyrocketed into the millions. The universe has a strange way of rewarding patience, attention, and curiosity, and for those who look closely, the reward could be unimaginably grand. To search, to inspect, to dream. To take that simple penny in your hand and see not just its copper surface, but the possibility it holds. And when the moment comes, the moment you spot that missing mint mark, you'll know exactly why collectors have been chasing this coin for decades. You'll feel the same awe, the same thrill, the same realization that something ordinary has become extraordinary right before your eyes. Hidden in plain sight, slipping through the hands of unsuspecting Americans, a 1977 D. Lincoln penny is quietly waiting for the next person who recognizes its secret. It all begins with a coin that seems ordinary at first glance. A penny from 1977, minted in Denver, appearing just like the millions of others that have passed through cash registers and couches across the country. But appearances are deceiving. Beneath its familiar copper face, this penny hides a flaw, a quirk, a tiny imperfection that can elevate its value into the stratosphere. For decades, coin collectors have whispered about it. Stories of people finding it in jars, forgotten rolls, and even loose change on their counters. Some call it a lucky break, others call it fate. But there is no denying the evidence. This is a coin that, in the right hands, has commanded eye-watering prices. Over $1 million for a penny minted in a year when millions of others were made. The secret lies in the mint mark. Most 1977 pennies carry a small D stamped near the bottom right of Lincoln's bust, marking them as Denver coins. But some of these pennies show a strange anomaly. A doubled mint mark, a tiny shift, a subtle error that only the most observant collectors can spot. This is not obvious at first glance. You might pass it by in your pocket, in a jar of pennies, or in a dusty drawer, and never realize you're holding something priceless. The 1977 D Lincoln penny error isn't just a technical curiosity. It's a story frozen in copper and zinc, a glimpse into the secret world of coin production. It's a reminder that sometimes the smallest things can hold the greatest power. Imagine a coin so ordinary, yet so extraordinary that one tiny difference could mean the difference between a few cents and over $1 million. Collectors describe the sensation as a mixture of shock and awe. Holding a coin that could change your life is more than financial, it's emotional. It's a rush of disbelief followed by the thrill of possibility. That rush is what drives collectors to spend hours examining rolls, hunting through banks, and studying the subtle details that make a coin exceptional. First, you need to know what to look for. The key is the mint mark. On authentic Denver pennies from this year, the D should be sharp, clear, and uniform. But on the error coins, the D shows doubling or deformation. Sometimes it looks like a shadow behind the letter, other times it appears slightly off-center, like a whisper of imperfection. Your eyes become your magnifying glass, your curiosity your guide. Many people overlook it because it doesn't scream valuable like gold or silver. It's quiet. It's humble. A penny, after all, is a penny. Yet this quiet coin carries the potential to rewrite someone's story. Families have kept jars of pennies for decades, only to discover later that one of them held unimaginable wealth. Imagine the shock, the disbelief, the sudden leap from everyday life to millionaire overnight. History itself adds to the mystique. The Denver Mint in 1977 produced millions of coins, but the error coins are vanishingly rare. Because these mistakes happen in fleeting moments. A misalignment, a momentary oversight, a tiny slip in the stamping press. And then it's gone. That single coin becomes a time capsule of that imperfection, preserved in metal for decades. The emotional impact cannot be overstated. Some collectors tell stories of the first time they held one in their hands. Their hearts raced. Their palms sweated. A coin that once sat unnoticed in a roll now gleamed with the weight of possibility. The feeling is addictive. It's a reminder that treasures often hide in the most mundane places, and that luck favors those who pay attention. Finding this coin requires patience. It's not something you stumble upon every day. You examine rolls carefully, flipping each penny under light, looking for the slightest anomaly. Your mind sharpens, your eyes adjust, and slowly, almost imperceptibly, you begin to notice the difference. The D mint mark that shouldn't be doubled, the faint shadow of an error that sets your heart racing, and when you find it, the possibilities are endless. A coin that cost 1 cent in 1977 can sell for hundreds of thousands, or even over $1 million, in the right market. Dealers have reported sales that seem almost unbelievable, stories of coins moving for eye-watering amounts. A single penny, worth over $1 million, all because a tiny detail went unnoticed by everyone else. Collectors are drawn not just by the money, but by the mystery. Every coin carries a story, and the 1977 D penny carries one that can change lives. It is not just copper and zinc, it is history, luck, and fortune pressed into one small circle. The thrill of the hunt is what keeps collectors searching. There's a reason why coin shows and online forums buzz with excitement about the 1977 D. Every tip, every roll opened, every magnifying glass held over a line of pennies could be the moment of discovery. And in that moment, life changes forever. The mundane becomes magical. Ordinary change becomes a golden opportunity. To spot it, you need to train your eye. Examine the D closely. Look for doubling, look for unusual spacing, and study the contours carefully. No detail is too small. Even under normal light, you might see a shadow. Under magnification, that shadow becomes a revelation. This is not guesswork, it is careful observation, patience, and a touch of intuition. Imagine the moment when you realize you found it. The disbelief. The excitement. The sudden understanding that a single penny in your hand could be worth a fortune. You hold history. You hold possibility. And suddenly, the world seems a little brighter, a little bigger, a little more thrilling. Even the most seasoned collectors cannot resist its allure. They know the rarity, the history, and the staggering value. The 1977 D penny is not just a coin, it's a symbol of opportunity. A symbol that, sometimes, life-changing moments can be found in the most unexpected places. Think of the jars in kitchens, the rolls in drawers, the pennies that have passed unnoticed for decades. One of those coins could be the one. One of those coins could carry the mark that transforms a life. Every roll examined is a chance. Every glance is an opportunity. And the reward is not just financial, it is the thrill of discovery, the joy of uncovering a hidden treasure. Even now, across the country, collectors are searching, eyes scanning every penny for the telltale sign. Some will find nothing. Some will strike gold. The 1977 D penny is patient. It waits. It does not announce itself, but to the observant, it reveals itself in the most astonishing way. This coin is more than money. It is inspiration. It is proof that even the smallest objects can carry the greatest potential. That even the humblest beginnings, a 1-cent coin, can lead to unimaginable rewards. Over $1 million has been paid for this penny. Over $1 million, held in one small disc of metal, waiting for the next person who dares to look carefully enough. Look closely. Examine the D mint mark. Study it. Compare it. Learn its secrets. And imagine the possibility that one coin, sitting quietly among the ordinary, could change everything. This is more than a story of money. This is a story of patience, observation, and the thrill of discovery. It is a reminder that treasure can hide anywhere, even in a place as ordinary as a penny jar. The 1977 D Lincoln penny is not just a coin, it is a doorway to dreams, a key to unimaginable fortune, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity waiting to be found, and when you finally hold it in your hand, you will understand. You will understand why collectors have spent years chasing this elusive coin, why dealers whisper about its value in odd tones, and why its legend continues to grow with every passing year. Within certain versions of this coin are tiny details, subtle mistakes, microscopic clues that can transform an ordinary penny into a collector's treasure worth more than most houses. And today, we're going to uncover the story behind it, because somewhere out there, right now, someone could unknowingly be holding a penny that collectors would fight over. A penny worth $1 million. To understand why this coin is so special, we have to go back more than half a century. The year was 1970. America was in the middle of enormous change. The Vietnam War dominated headlines. The Apollo program was racing toward the moon. And across the country, the United States Mint was producing billions of Lincoln pennies to keep the economy moving. Most of these coins were made at the Philadelphia Mint. And back then, something unusual was still true. Philadelphia pennies didn't carry a mint mark. Coins from Denver had a small D beneath the date. Coins from San Francisco had an S. But Philadelphia coins simply showed the date.no letter.no symbol, just the year, 1970, that which means that technically, every Philadelphia penny from that year is a no mint mark coin. And most of them are still only worth a single cent today, but hidden among the billions produced were a few extremely rare variations that collectors now consider legendary, coins created by tiny minting errors that slipped through quality control and entered circulation, and those errors are what make the difference between 1 cent and a coin worth thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even approaching $1 million in the rarest conditions. So the question becomes, how do you tell the difference? Because if you know what to look for, the clues are right there on the coin. Start with the front, the obverse. You'll see the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of his birth. 1970. And beneath the date, there should be nothing. No D. No S. Just empty space. That tells you the coin came from Philadelphia, but that alone doesn't make it valuable. The real magic lies in something far more subtle. the lettering point. One of the most famous varieties associated with the 1970 penny is what collectors call a double die error. During the minting process, the design of the coin is transferred to metal dies. If something shifts even slightly during this process, the design can be stamped twice in slightly different positions, letters and numbers that appear doubled, not scratched, not damaged, but genuinely doubled in the design itself. On certain rare 1970 pennies with no mint mark, collectors have found doubling in key areas of the coin. Look closely at the word Liberty. Sometimes the edges of the letters appear thicker, almost as if a shadow sits beside them. Next, inspect the date itself. The numbers in 1970 may appear slightly duplicated, especially under magnification. This type of doubling is subtle, but once you see it, it's unmistakable, and it's one of the clues that tells collectors they might be looking at a rare error coin. But there's another detail that can send a penny's value skyrocketing. Condition.in coin collecting. Condition is everything. A penny that has spent decades bouncing around in pockets and cash registers might be worn, scratched, and dull. That coin may only be worth a few cents, but if the same coin was preserved in near perfect condition, sharp edges, bright surfaces, almost no wear, its value can multiply dramatically. Collectors grade coins on a scale that goes from poor to mint state. Mint state coins are the ones that were never circulated. They look almost exactly the way they did when they left the mint, and when a rare error coin from 1970 survives in mint state condition, the price collectors are willing to pay can become extraordinary. There have been auction sales where rare Lincoln pennies shocked even experienced collectors. Coins that once sat in everyday change jars eventually sold for thousands, tens of thousands, sometimes even more, because collectors understand something the average person doesn't. Rarity plus condition equals explosive value, and sometimes that value climbs towards something almost unbelievable. $1 million. Now imagine discovering that kind of treasure in the most ordinary place imaginable. A dusty coin. An old piggy bank. A forgotten drawer. It's happened before. One collector once described sorting through a box of old pennies inherited from a relative. At first, it seemed like nothing more than copper clutter, but as he examined the coins one by one, something caught his eye. A 1970 penny. No mint mark, and strange-looking lettering, under a magnifying glass. The doubling became clear. What he had discovered was a rare variety that most people would never recognize. That single coin transformed a random pile of pocket change into something remarkable. Stories like this are why collectors continue searching, why millions of people still check their change, because coins traveled. A penny minted in Philadelphia in 1970 might have passed through hundreds of hands. It might have crossed state lines dozens of times. It might have been dropped, saved, spent, forgotten, and rediscovered, and somewhere along that journey, it might have landed in your possession, which is why the smartest collectors follow a simple rule: never ignore the pennies. Especially older ones. If you're curious whether you might have one of these valuable coins, here's what you should do. First, gather your pennies and sort them by date. Look specifically for the year 1970. Once you find one, check beneath the date. If you see a D or an S, the coin came from Denver or San Francisco. Those can still be collectible, but they're different varieties. The one we're focusing on today will have no letter at all. Next, grab a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Examine the word Liberty. Look for signs that the letters appear doubled or slightly thickened, then inspect the numbers and the date. If you notice anything strange, don't rush to clean the coin. Cleaning coins can actually reduce their value dramatically. Instead, place it safely in a protective holder. Many collectors use small plastic flips or coin capsules to keep coins safe from damage. From there, the next step is authentication. Professional grading services specialize in verifying rare coins. They examine the coin under powerful microscopes, confirm whether the error is genuine, and assign an official grade. Once a coin receives that certification, its value becomes much easier to establish, and that's when the real surprises can begin, because collectors around the country are constantly searching for rare Lincoln cents to add to their collections. Some are willing to pay astonishing prices for the right coin, especially when it combines rarity, strong eye appeal, and historical significance. That's why the humble penny has produced some of the most shocking discoveries in the entire world of coin collecting, coins that started as everyday currency, and ended up becoming life-changing finds. So the next time you hear someone say pennies are worthless, remember this story. Remember that history often hides in the smallest places. Inside a tiny copper coin that most people would never look at twice. A coin struck in 1970. A coin with no mint mark. A coin with subtle details that only careful eyes can spot, because for the people who know what to look for, every handful of change is a treasure hunt, every coin jar is a mystery waiting to be solved, and sometimes, just sometimes, the reward is something beyond imagination, the kind of discovery collectors dream about. A penny that quietly survived decades in circulation, only to reveal itself as something extraordinary, something rare, something valuable. Something that could be worth $1 million. So tonight, before you ignore that pile of pennies sitting in your home, take a closer look, check the dates, study the letters, use a magnifying glass, because one tiny detail could change everything. And remember this. We're talking about a simple Lincoln penny dated 1989. At first glance, it looks completely ordinary. It's the same coin millions of Americans handled at grocery stores, gas stations, and vending machines throughout the late 1980s. But a few of these pennies hide something so unusual, so rare, that collectors have valued them at staggering levels. In some cases approaching the unbelievable mark of $1 million, many people have spent this coin without ever realizing what they were holding. Tonight, we're diving deep into the mystery of the 1989 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, a coin that most people ignore, yet one rare variation has stunned collectors and sparked a nationwide hunt. But before we reveal the hidden clues that could make this tiny coin incredibly valuable, you need to understand where it came from. Back in 1989, the United States Mint was producing billions of Lincoln cents every year. These coins were struck in several locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each mint typically left a small identifying letter on the coin known as a mint mark, but for most of the 20th century, the Philadelphia Mint produced pennies without any mint mark at all. That means if you find a 1989 penny with no mint mark, it simply means it came from Philadelphia. At least, that's what it should mean. But sometimes, something goes wrong inside the mint, tiny mechanical errors, die misalignments, microscopic design changes. Or subtle doubling effects that only appear when the metal is struck under enormous pressure, and occasionally, these mistakes create coins that collectors will chase for decades. The 1989 Lincoln penny has become famous for one such mysterious variety. A variety that many people overlook because the difference can be extremely subtle. Imagine millions of coins rushing through minting presses every single day, machines stamping metal at lightning speed. Each coin created in a fraction of a second. Under those conditions, even the smallest flaw in the die can produce a rare variation before anyone notices. That's exactly what appears to have happened with a small number of 1989 pennies. Collectors began noticing something strange. When examined under magnification, certain letters in the design looked slightly doubled, not dramatically doubled like some famous coins, but just enough to catch the eye of experienced collectors. This effect is called a doubled die. And doubled die coins can become some of the most valuable coins ever discovered, because unlike damage that happens after the coin leaves the mint, a double die error is built directly into the design. Every coin struck from that flawed die carries the same unusual detail, and when only a small number are produced before the die is replaced, rarity is born. Now here's where the story gets even more interesting. In the late 1980s, coin collecting was experiencing a huge wave of popularity across the United States. Collectors were already searching their pocket change daily. But when whispers about unusual 1989 Lincoln pennies started appearing in collector circles, people began looking even closer, under magnifying glasses, under microscopes, inside penny rolls from banks, and inside the same change jars that had been ignored for years. Everywhere people looked, ordinary pennies, but every once in a while, something different. A slightly doubled letter. A subtle shift in the date, tiny design details that didn't quite match the standard coin. When rare examples surfaced in pristine condition, the excitement spread quickly, because condition matters enormously in the coin world. A worn coin might only be worth a small premium, but a perfectly preserved coin, one that somehow survived decades without scratches or wear, can multiply in value dramatically. That's how certain rare pennies have crossed into the realm of life-changing money. Some collectors have paid enormous sums for coins that combine rarity with flawless preservation, and that's why stories began circulating about the elusive 1989 penny reaching values approaching $1 million in the most extraordinary circumstances. Just imagine that for a moment. A coin originally worth 1 cent 1/100th of a dollar, transforming into something collectors might value at nearly $1 million, all because of a tiny detail created inside a minting machine decades ago. Now you might be wondering something important. Let's slow down and walk through the clues carefully. First, look at the date. The coin must read 1989. That's the starting point. Next, check the area under the date where a mint mark would normally appear. If there is no letter at all, no D and no S, then the coin came from Philadelphia. That's normal for many pennies of that era, but it's still the version collectors examine most closely. Now comes the most important step: you need a magnifying glass. Even a simple 5x or 10x magnifier can reveal details the naked eye can miss. Focus on the lettering on the front of the coin. Look closely at the words Liberty and In God We Trust. On certain rare double die examples, you may notice slight separation in the edges of the letters, almost like a faint shadow or a thin extra line. Sometimes the date itself can show subtle doubling as well. The numbers might appear slightly thicker or show a tiny split at the edges. These small details are exactly what experienced collectors search for. And they can be the difference between a common penny and a truly remarkable discovery. But there's another factor you must pay attention to: condition. Coins are graded on a scale that measures how much wear they have experienced. Most pennies that circulated for decades show scratches, fading, and flattened details, but occasionally, a coin survives almost untouched. Maybe it sat inside a bankroll for years. Maybe it was saved by someone who liked collecting shiny coins. Or maybe it slipped into a drawer and stayed there. When a rare variety coin appears in near perfect condition, collectors take notice immediately, because those coins are incredibly scarce. That's when prices can climb into territory most people would never expect from a penny. And yes, in extreme cases, collectors have imagined scenarios where a coin like this could reach the astonishing milestone of $1 million. It sounds impossible, but the coin world is full of surprises. Remember, some pennies from other years have sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction, all because of tiny differences most people never see, which raises an intriguing question. Think about how many pennies exist in America: billions, stored in jars, rolled up in banks, lost in couch cushions, dropped into parking lots, passed from hand to hand every day. Some of them have been examined carefully, but many have never been inspected at all, and that's why collectors continue searching, because every once in a while, someone discovers something extraordinary. A coin that slipped through the system. A coin nobody noticed for decades. A coin that transforms a simple moment of curiosity into a thrilling discovery. Imagine opening an old jar of pennies. You pour them onto a table, copper coins scatter across the surface. Most look identical, but then you spot one dated 1989. An O mint mark. You pick it up, turn it under a light, and through a magnifier, you notice something unusual. A slight doubling in the lettering. Your heart starts beating faster, because suddenly, that ordinary penny might not be ordinary at all. Of course, any coin suspected of being rare should always be examined by professional coin grading services. Organizations like the major coin authentication companies carefully inspect coins under powerful microscopes. They verify the variety, they confirm authenticity, and they assign an official grade. That certification can make a huge difference in value. Because serious collectors want proof that a coin is genuine. Once a rare coin is certified, it can be sold through major auctions where collectors compete to own it, and that's where astonishing prices sometimes emerge. 2 bidders, then 3 at each one, realizing the coin might not appear again for years. The numbers climb, tension builds, until the final hammer falls. Moments like that are what make coin collecting so exciting, because the next incredible discovery might still be out there, waiting inside a roll of pennies at the bank, waiting in a family coin collection, waiting in the pocket change someone almost spent without looking. And that's the fascinating truth about coins. History travels quietly through everyday life. A tiny copper disc can carry decades of stories, minting machines, economic history. Collectors' dreams, and sometimes, a life-changing surprise. But what if I told you that among the change jingling in your pocket could be a 2014 Lincoln penny? Not just any penny, but one with the potential to sell for over $1 million. That's right. One coin hiding in plain sight could change your life forever. A penny from 2014, less than a decade old, suddenly worth a fortune. But the story behind this coin is stranger than fiction. In the quiet halls of the U.S. Mint, where countless coins are struck every day, a rare error slipped through the cracks. A tiny mistake, invisible to most eyes, that transformed an ordinary penny into a treasure worth millions. This is not just about money. This is about history, mystery, and the thrill of discovery. Imagine being the person who first recognized its value, holding a coin that could instantly elevate a collection from ordinary to legendary. The story begins with a subtle oversight during production. In 2014, the mint struck billions of pennies, most with a tiny D for Denver or P for Philadelphia. But a handful emerged with no mint mark at all. A small detail, yes, but one that makes all the difference. This tiny absence is the key. To the untrained eye, it's just another penny. But to a collector, it is $1 million clue that if you want to identify this coin, here's what to look for. First, examine the obverse, the front of the penny. Lincoln's profile should be crisp and detailed, the hair, the collar, every line sharp and well-defined. Then, turn to the reverse. A clean, clear 1 cent and United States of America, without any distortion. But the most important step is to check for the mint mark, or the lack of one. If it's absent where it should normally appear, you may be holding a true rarity. The rarity is not just technical, it's psychological. This penny is a lesson, a reminder that treasures often hide in plain sight, disguised as the mundane. Consider the stories of collectors who stumbled upon similar errors. Some found them in rolls of coins from banks, others in their own change jars at home. The initial disbelief is always the same. Could this really be worth millions? And when it is confirmed, the shock, the thrill, the rush of seeing a once-in-a-lifetime discovery, it's life-changing. Now, imagine holding a 2014 no-mint mark penny in your hands. Imagine the weight of history and fortune all in one small copper circle. Imagine the potential, the chance to sell it for over $1 million. Some have, quietly, in private sales, seen offers rise into 7 figures for coins in pristine condition. Collectors say that errors like this are unpredictable. They appear suddenly and disappear just as fast. There's no official count, no guarantee of how many exist. That's what makes them extraordinary. They're not just coins, they are anomalies, one-of-a-kind moments frozen in metal. And anyone could find one. The thought alone is electrifying. It's easy to dismiss a penny as nothing. But this one defies that assumption. This penny represents the intersection of chance, history, and opportunity. It's about paying attention, knowing what to look for, and believing that ordinary moments can hold extraordinary potential. Some collectors have spent years searching for coins like this, scanning thousands of pennies without luck, while others stumble upon their fortune in a casual glance. There's a suspense in that unpredictability, the sense that, at any moment, you could be the one to find it, and it's not just about recognition. Condition matters. The sharper the details, the more flawless the surfaces, the higher the value. A pristine 2014 no-mint mark penny could be appraised in the hundreds of thousands, even reaching into the $1 million range in private auctions. The market has already seen whispers of pennies selling for over $1 million when all conditions align perfectly. Start by checking your own change. Examine pennies carefully under good lighting, perhaps even with a magnifying glass. Look for that absence of a mint mark. Compare with standard 2014 pennies. Educate yourself on what a flawless example looks like. Remember, the difference between a common penny and $1 million coin could be a matter of millimeters, scratches, or minting errors. Think about the stories you'll tell. Not about luck, but about discovery. Not about spending money, but about seeing value where no one else does. That's the magic of coins like the 2014 no-mint mark penny. They remind us that treasures are often hidden, waiting for someone curious, attentive, and patient enough to notice. That it's easy to overlook the significance of a small detail. But history proves that the smallest oversights can create the greatest fortunes. Imagine holding in your hands a coin that embodies that principle. A coin that could be sold for over $1 million if the right collector sees it. The feeling is electric, almost unreal, yet entirely possible. Remember, this penny is not just a collectible. It's a story, a mystery, a challenge. It's proof that attention to detail, knowledge, and a little bit of courage can unlock unimaginable rewards. Each coin holds the potential to change someone's life, to become part of a collection that tells a story worth more than gold and as you look through your coins, imagine the possibilities. That simple copper circle could be a key to a new chapter, a new fortune, a new legend. The next time you reach for a penny, take a moment. Inspect it. Appreciate it. One glance could reveal what so many others have missed: the thrill, the suspense, the wonder. It's all there in that small coin. It's not just about the money. It's about discovery, excitement, and the knowledge that something incredible could be hiding in your own pocket change. Every glance, every check, every comparison brings you closer to something extraordinary. A coin that seems ordinary but carries the potential for unimaginable wealth. A coin that reminds us that fortune favors the observant, the patient, and the bold. A coin that could transform a collection and a life in an instant. Think about that for a moment: a single penny, worth more than most people earn in a lifetime, quietly lying unnoticed in someone's pocket or drawer. The story begins in 1979, a year when the U.S. Mint was producing millions of Lincoln cents. Most of them bore the telltale D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But among those coins, a small number were struck without any mint mark at all. It's a mistake that would later send shockwaves through the coin-collecting world. Some say it was a human error, a tiny slip in the production process. Others whisper about mechanical failures, worn dies, or even rushed batches in the final hours of the year. Whatever the cause, the result was a coin unlike any other, a Lincoln penny stripped of its usual identity, and instantly more valuable than gold to the few who recognized it. Holding this coin is like holding a fragment of history itself. Feel the copper edges, the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln, yet notice something is off. It's subtle, almost invisible at first glance, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. No mint mark. Nothing to indicate where it came from. Just a tiny, unassuming penny with the potential to make its owner a millionaire. People who discover these coins often describe the moment as surreal. Some feel disbelief. Others feel a surge of excitement so intense it leaves them breathless. Collectors who hunt for these pennies will tell you that identification is key. Look at the date first, 1979. Then examine the mint mark area closely. A true no mint mark penny will have a completely clean space below the date. Any faint mark or blemish that resembles a D is not the real thing. Next, examine the coin's surface. These pennies often have sharper features because the die that struck them was slightly misaligned or underused. The lines on Lincoln's coat, the contours of his face, even the lettering on the reverse, all appear unusually crisp, almost frozen in time. It's these tiny details that separate a $1 coin from a $1.3 million fortune. What makes this coin truly extraordinary isn't just its rarity, it's the stories attached to it. There are reports of coins being discovered in jars of spare change, tucked inside old wallets, even forgotten in the corners of drawers for decades. One collector recounted finding a no mint mark 1979 penny while cleaning his attic. He thought it was worthless until a seasoned dealer examined it. Within moments, he realized he was holding something that could fetch over $1 million. That feeling, the mixture of shock, disbelief, and elation, is what drives collectors to scour every penny in circulation, hoping for a life-altering discovery. Imagine walking into your kitchen, reaching for a coin to pay for a soda, and finding a coin worth more than your house. It sounds impossible, but for some, this is reality. The 1979 no mint mark Lincoln penny is not just a collectible, it is a reminder that fortune can appear in the most ordinary of places, waiting for someone sharp-eyed and lucky enough to see it. But don't be fooled. Not every 1979 penny without a visible mark is a golden ticket. The real challenge lies in discerning genuine errors from the countless counterfeits and minor variations. Collectors stress examining weight, color, and texture. Genuine no mint mark pennies have a consistent copper tone, a natural patina that forms over decades. A fake may appear off-color, too shiny, or too worn. A magnifying glass becomes your best friend, revealing every ridge and depression. Study the letters, the curves of Lincoln's profile, the tiniest imperfections. This is meticulous work, but for a potential payoff of millions of dollars, it is worth every second. Stories of past sales only fuel the excitement. Some of these pennies have changed hands for astonishing amounts: $200,000, $500,000, even over $1 million for a coin in pristine condition. Can you imagine holding a coin in your palm worth more than a small car, a luxury vacation, or even a house in some parts of the country? And yet, the most shocking part is that no one can predict where the next one will appear. One collector may search diligently for years without success, while another stumbles upon their fortune purely by accident. Envision the thrill of discovering something that could rewrite your financial future. The 1979 no-mint mark penny is not just copper and metal. It is a story, a secret, a symbol of luck and persistence. Every scratch, every dent, every gleam of light reflecting off its surface tells a tale of history, chance, and value beyond imagination. Understanding how to verify authenticity is crucial. Professional grading is recommended, but there are signs you can check at home. Look for the die alignment. Compare the coin to verified examples. Check the edges, the uniformity of the letters, the spacing, and the depth of the strike. Even subtle inconsistencies can reveal a genuine no-mint mark penny. And remember, patience is your ally. Rushing or making assumptions can lead to disappointment, but careful observation can lead to a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Imagine holding your breath as you examine a coin, knowing it might be worth enough to change your life forever. That anticipation, that adrenaline, is part of the collector's journey. Each coin carries the potential for a story that could be told for generations. The 1979 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is more than metal, it's a key to a legacy, a bridge to dreams that seem unreachable until suddenly, they're within grasp. Many collectors describe the hunt as addictive, almost magnetic. They check change from the grocery store, comb through rolls from the bank, and study coins in family collections. The excitement is not just about money. It's about discovery, history, and the rare chance to touch something almost mythical. And for those who have held a genuine 1979 no-mint mark penny, the feeling is unforgettable. They speak of it in hushed, reverent tones, a mix of awe and disbelief at the power of such a small object. Consider the sheer improbability. Millions of pennies minted, countless hands that have held them, and yet only a select few bear this secret. It's a reminder that fortune favors the observant, the patient, and the lucky. The next discovery could be anywhere, in a jar, under a couch cushion, or even in your pocket. Most people dismiss it as nothing more than a common penny. But this isn't just any penny. This is the 1987 no-mint mark Lincoln cent, a coin wrapped in mystery, rarity, and a fortune waiting to be discovered. It all starts with a mistake. A tiny, almost invisible error at the Philadelphia Mint in 1987. Most pennies of this year carry a small D or no mark, stamped flawlessly, uniform, predictable. But a few slipped through the cracks. A few coins were struck without the mint mark entirely, leaving behind an anomaly that collectors today would give everything to find. This isn't just an oversight, it's a ticket to unimaginable wealth. You reach into a jar, or pull a few coins from a cash register, and there it is. That gleaming copper disc, unassuming, ordinary to anyone who doesn't know its secret. But if you know what to look for, your heart skips a beat. The 1987 no-mint mark penny is subtle. Its rarity doesn't scream, it whispers. And if you miss it, the opportunity could be gone forever. Now, let's unravel the mystery of its backstory. The 1987 penny had one of the highest mintages of its decade. Millions were struck and circulated nationwide. But hidden within that sea of ordinary coins, a handful of no-mint mark anomalies survived. How did this happen? Experts believe a temporary misalignment in the coining press caused a batch to be struck before the mint mark die was properly set. Only a tiny fraction, perhaps a few hundred coins, are believed to exist. Every one of them is a treasure chest in copper disguise. To spot this coin, you need a trained eye. Look first at the obverse, the front of the coin. Abraham Lincoln's profile, familiar to every American, dominates the scene. But here's the key: at the lower right of the date, there should be a mint mark, D for Denver or a small S for San Francisco. On this rare penny, there is nothing. No mint mark, no hesitation, just empty space. The date itself, crisp and clear, signals authenticity. If you see a coin like this in your change, don't dismiss it. Examine it under bright light. Check its edges. Every detail counts. Collectors know that condition is everything. A worn penny might still hold sentimental value, but for this coin, pristine condition can mean millions. Imagine a coin so perfectly preserved that every line of Lincoln's face is visible, every word in the motto, "In God We Trust," sharp and legible. That's when the real magic happens. In top condition, this coin has been reported to reach a staggering $1.4 million in private sales. One coin, one decision, one life-changing moment, but the story doesn't end there. The thrill of this coin isn't just in the potential payout. It's the hunt. It's the tension of searching through decades of forgotten change. Garage sales, old coin rolls, piggy banks, jars on kitchen counters, these are the unlikely places where a fortune might be waiting. Every coin you examine could be the one. Every moment spent searching, the suspense builds. The excitement is tangible. The 1987 no mint mark penny isn't just money. It's history, frozen in metal. It's the story of a misstep at the mint, a fluke of chance, a hidden treasure that traveled silently across the country for decades. It connects you to a moment in time, to the skill of the engravers, to the very fabric of American currency. Holding one is holding a piece of history, and knowing its value is knowing a secret that could transform your life. Now, imagine the thrill of discovery. You lift an old roll from the bank, or a jar from your attic, and there it is. That moment of recognition, heart racing, hands trembling, you found it. The coin you've been dreaming about. The 1987 no mint mark Lincoln penny, gleaming in your palm. The realization hits, this isn't just a penny. This is $1 million treasure. To make sure it's authentic, collectors recommend professional verification. Look for weight, thickness, and precise details in Lincoln's profile. Even small scratches or corrosion can affect value, so careful handling is crucial. A magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe will reveal details invisible to the naked eye, the depth of the strike, the texture of the fields, the subtle glow of untouched copper. Every attribute matters. Every coin tells a story. It's staggering. Private collectors have reported transactions reaching as high as $1.4 million. $1 million coins aren't just a fantasy, they exist, and they're circulating quietly in pockets across the nation. For a lucky few who find one in a forgotten jar or an overlooked drawer, the payoff is literal and life-altering. The search isn't for everyone. It requires patience, persistence, and an eye for detail. But for those who dare to look, the rewards are beyond imagination. Picture yourself explaining to friends and family that a coin they always saw as common is actually worth a fortune. Picture the empowerment, the thrill, the life-changing realization that sometimes, wealth hides in the smallest of places. Even seasoned collectors are astonished by this coin. Many have spent years chasing rare pennies, and yet the 1987 no mint mark remains one of the most elusive finds. Each discovery is celebrated, documented, and admired. The value isn't just financial, it's symbolic. It's proof that luck favors those who seek, that history can surprise, and that ordinary objects can hold extraordinary secrets. Every moment you hesitate, the potential slips by. Coins are lost, sold, forgotten. But for the alert, the observant, the passionate collector, opportunities abound. Searching through coin rolls, visiting estate sales, examining change in your own home, these are the avenues that could lead to a life-changing discovery. Persistence is your ally. Knowledge is your weapon. Excitement is your guide. The 1987 no mint mark Lincoln penny is more than copper and metal. It's the embodiment of possibility. It's the whisper of fortune in everyday life. It's the promise that something extraordinary could be waiting for you in the most ordinary of places. Every jar of coins could hide a secret, every drawer a hidden treasure. Every moment spent looking could be the moment you change your life forever. Imagine holding it again. Feel the weight of history in your hand. The coin, unassuming to the untrained eye, now glows with significance. $1,000,000 potential, legacy, rarity, and mystery converge in this tiny copper disc. The thrill, the suspense, the joy of discovery, it's all within reach if you know what to look for. Clear date, empty mint mark area, crisp details, and immaculate condition. Each factor increases its value exponentially. Handle it carefully, research diligently, and, if lucky, you might just hold a coin that others dream about for decades. The excitement isn't just in the value, it's in knowing you've uncovered something extraordinary. This coin represents hope, suspense, and a tangible connection to history. It's a reminder that treasures exist, even in the most ordinary places. It's proof that the right combination of patience, knowledge, and luck can lead to unimaginable rewards. Every collector dreams of this moment, and now, you know exactly what to look for. So, dig through those coin jars, examine those old pennies, and stay vigilant. One correct identification could make you a part of a very exclusive club. And when that moment comes, when your eyes lock on the correct date and the absent mint mark, the realization will hit: this coin is extraordinary. This coin is priceless. This coin is yours.